Hey guys, first off, I'd like to thank the patrons, Jason and Joseph, for joining the Patreon. I really appreciate the support. It means a lot to me. So if you're interested, you guys, and you haven't seen it, I started a Patreon. The link will be in the description. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and all that fun stuff. Now, as far as the video goes, we already did film study on them fighting on the outside. Now we're going to be taking a look at how each fighter fights on the inside and what's going to work for them and what's not going to work for them and why Shawn Porter is so effective on the inside. So let's go ahead and get into it. First, we're going to be looking at Danny Garcia and his habits, and we're going to be looking at his active guard. And what I want to point out here is how easy it is for Brandon Rios to get on the inside of Danny Garcia's guard with a simple punch and a step forward. Right? Notice how he shoots the jab, and he steps forward, and then he takes another step forward to close the distance to throw those punches. And Danny Garcia immediately ties him up. You know, he grabs his arm, and then what does Brandon Rios do? He takes his head, and he digs it into Garcia's shoulder, right, to control him, create some space, and start landing body shots. Boom, boom, on the inside. And, you know, that exchange is a little even, so not to pay too much attention to it. But, again, Danny Garcia not really controlling the space, not feinting, not jabbing, not moving off the line, and he just allows Brandon Rios to make his way inside and throw punches at him. Now notice this exchange is just a little bit different than the last one, as soon as Brandon Rios gets in, Danny Garcia doesn't tie him up, he simply moves off the line and continues moving. Now again, Brandon Rios shoots one jab and then comes in with the hook, and as he shoots that jab, he's stepping with his back leg, and he's able to close the distance while shifting forward really effectively against Danny Garcia. And again, Danny Garcia goes to tie him up, and then Brandon Rios, if it wasn't for the referee, would be able to start throwing punches. Now again, when Danny Garcia does control the space between them, he does it with a punch. He doesn't do it with a lot of feinting. He doesn't do it with an active guard, right, giving his opponent different looks, even though it looks like he's a little active. You know, his head is basically on the center line. And as you can see, he's shooting these punches, and Brandon Rios is actually starting to time him on those shots. As you see, he predicts right here that Danny Garcia, well, let's go back to the punches first. So he steps forward with that jab. Well, let's go back to the first jab. So sorry, guys. Steps forward with the jab. Brandon catches it. Steps forward with the jab. Brandon catches it again. And Brandon has the timing for Danny Garcia. And I expect Porter is going to have a very similar ability to pick up on that very easily. And as you can see, he times it so that he's going to step on that front foot, and Brandon Rios ducks or slips the jab to the inside and then goes to land the body shot. It doesn't wind up being a body jab from Garcia. To his credit, he does know how to slip to mix it up with that shot, and that is a little bit of craft that he has there, knowing that once the jab's not working on that timing, boom, he can go to the body with the hook. But again, Brandon Rios is able to get on the inside. Now again, notice once he's on the inside, Danny Garcia doesn't tie him up. He simply moves off the line and is able to escape the inside fighting from him. But then again, winds up on the ropes because he doesn't know how to control the space. He doesn't know how to feint, and he's only doing it with his punch. He allows Brandon Rios to time him, and then Brandon Rios to start throwing punches and get him on the ropes. Now, Danny Garcia, instead of just moving off the ropes and escaping, he ties Brandon Rios up, and then Brandon Rios immediately starts controlling him with his head and beginning to make space. The referee does come in right there and break them up, but you can see where that's going, where Brandon Rios is going to start throwing punches on the inside. And I think we'll see it in this clip here. But again, timing him with the jab as he steps with the jab. Brandon Rios is starting to time him when he moves forward. And Danny Garcia is having a very difficult time controlling the space between them. And again, Danny Garcia goes to the hook, or to the, it's kind of a hook, and Brandon Rios is able to time it. He understands that Danny Garcia is going to commit to a punch. He's going to put himself out of position and no longer be in position to counter. He's kind of just doing guessing work, right, in which punch Danny Garcia is going to throw. But he comes in with the hook, lands it. But again, Danny Garcia having success, not grabbing a hold of Brandon Rios, even though Brandon Rios is doing a great job of shifting forward the shot comes, and he starts shifting forward with his back leg on the right hand. As you can see, I'll slow it down. Boom. And he shifts forward with the right hand. And Danny Garcia, instead of staying there and being tied up, he moves off the line. I think this will be the last clip of Danny Garcia. But again, he's able to escape, even though that's not very pretty, he's able to escape the inside fighting of Brandon Rios by not tying him up. But again, Brandon Rios finding it very easy to get on the inside of Danny Garcia. Again, the same thing, not tying him up and able to escape. And then in this clip, we're going to see how easy it is for him to get on the inside. Again, Danny Garcia escapes, right, by not tying him up. And then winds up on the ropes, tying him up, and Brandon Rios is able to work on the inside by creating space with his head, right? This is going to be something that's very important to pay attention to when the inside fighting starts, because Porter does something very similar. Now, let's just watch Porter on the inside, how easy it is. Look at how easy it is to counter Porter when he's not being held, right? Look at how effective that shot is for Adrian Broner when Porter is standing square in front of him, right? Just like Brandon Rios was doing. And he's able to time him with that right uppercut, land a great shot. He eats that overhand right. He's not doing that great. But then immediately once he starts tying up, and we'll see some more evidence of the tying up. But first what I want to focus on before we get to that is how Porter shifts forward very similarly. He feints here, gets around the jab, right? Just like he's timing Porter, or timing Broner. Broner sticks that probing jab out, slips to the outside, and then Broner catches him with the left hook, but because he's using that head movement, he's coming on the inside. There's no power on it, and he's able to land that body shot. But look at Porter's feet, how he slips and then comes forward with that hook, but he shifts with his back leg to square up with Broner and so he can get his head into his chest and land those punches. And again, beautiful footwork from Porter, how he's able to come in, shoot that body shot, step forward while he's throwing this hook, and then close the distance. And then Adrian Broner has no recourse but to hold, and Porter starts throwing punches. And we'll see a little bit, I'll show you a little bit more evidence of it. But again, beautiful head movement, shoots the jab, knows the counter is coming. And as you can see, Broner is using basically the same tactic to control the space as Brandon Rios does, and Porter has no problem getting on the inside. And then you can see, Broner obviously going to hold. Now, again, this is going to be very similar. He's able to follow him, feint him, get him to commit to the first action, right? So he commits to the first punch. Porter's able to see it because when you don't layer your offense, right? If you just commit to something, your opponent's seen a lead left hook a million times. He's able to get under it, square up, and control Broner and start landing shots. And then Broner looks to go, I think this is the one where he starts holding, and he starts holding again, and look at as he holds, he's able to use his head and create space to land body shots with the right hand. Now, this is going to be exactly what happens all night with Danny Garcia, in my opinion. Again, he comes in, shoots that hook, and shifts forward as he's throwing those punches. And notice Broner does not hold him here, right? He just creates some space, pushing him off, but he's no longer eating punches. So as you can see, a lot of the effectiveness of, again, not holding, just creating space and moving off the line, a lot of the problems that his opponents have are when they try to hold him, because he's such a physical fighter and he knows how to create space using his head and controlling his opponent, that when he's not being held, he's not nearly as effective. It's kind of like wrestling. When you're wrestling your opponent and you're bodied up with them, you always know where they are. And when his opponents have a hold of him, he always knows where you are. But when you don't hold him and you don't give him that option, he's far less effective. Notice all of these punches, not one of them really lands until Broner starts holding him and grabbing his arm, and then Porter is able to land that shot. That one's on kind of the back of the head. But again, no effectiveness here. When he doesn't look to hold, he just moves off the line. And again, no effectiveness there because he doesn't stay there on the line with him, and he doesn't hold him once he gets on the inside. Now, real quick, I just want to touch on this. I talked about it with the Tevin Farmer fight. When you throw those shots or you throw that left hook, watch how Broner throws this right hand, then he throws this left hook, and look at how his hips turn all the way over. Very exaggerated motion, boom, right? And now he's staying on the line. He has two options. He can transfer his weight back to his right hand, right? Or back to his left leg and throw a right hand, right? Boom. Or with his hips here, he can follow his hips and instead of making a pivot with his hips this way, make a pivot with his hips that way, but transfer his weight back this way. And so when I talk about that in my future videos, this is exactly what it looks like right here. So you throw that right hand, and then your weight is all the way on your right leg, and you pivot off, and you transfer your weight back to the other side. And it's just beautiful work. It's the same idea as throwing your right hand here, and then pivoting off the line this way, shuffling forward, right? And go boom, boom, bam, bam, right? Or you throw the hook, boom, 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 right? And move backwards just by simply pivoting and transferring your weight. And then we got one more clip. Again, it went so far back. Again, not holding on to Porter, and Porter has trouble finding him. Again, having trouble finding him when he just moves off the line. So if Danny Garcia is going to have any success fighting Shawn Porter, it's going to not be clinching. I know that that's counterintuitive because clinching is a lot of what people think Brook used to beat Porter by completely tying him up. But is Danny Garcia going to get away with the same thing? Because these are both PBC fighters. You know, the politics of it, you know. Is Danny Garcia going to get away with it if he tries? Is it even going to be effective? That's another question, right? We haven't really seen Danny Garcia have to hold and clinch and do that. So, you know, who knows if it'll be effective, if he'll be able to do it, or if he'll get away with it. As we saw, Shawn Porter fighting Adrian Broner, both PBC fighters as well. Adrian Broner didn't get away with it either, and he got deducted 2 points in this fight? I'm not sure. At least 1 point I know for sure. But anyway, that's the extent of this film study. I think the inside fighting is really going to be as simple as that. Shawn Porter throwing those punches, shifting forward, closing the distance, because Danny Garcia doesn't know how to control it with anything other than his jab, which is easily timed. Also that left hook, you know. But I think that Shawn Porter is going to have a very easy time getting on the inside. And I will be having one more film study on this one tomorrow, where I discuss, you know, my breakdown of the fight and my prediction, which I think is obviously painfully clear already. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're interested in supporting me on Patreon, the more money that I make in Patreon, the more opportunities I'll have to do other and fun things, maybe traveling, going to gyms that are, you know, outside of my city, getting some sparring. Maybe if I can spar some, you know, named people, or just, you know, people at any gym. If people want to request gyms, I've had people call me out also that say they want to fight, that I'm just all talking all this shit. Anybody who wants to call me out and spar, I'll come down. I'll fight you. You know, I'm only 5'7". You know, I'm about, my fighting weight when I used to fight was 120. I think I would get down to about 140, but we can throw some gloves on. We can see what's up. So let me know in the comments below when the Patreon gets that high, you know, high enough that I can travel and take time off of work. I would love to be able to do some stuff like that. Like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter. And yeah, let me know also what kind of Patreon rewards you might be interested in. I have a few ideas, but until I figure out how to do that kind of stuff on Patreon, I won't be having any specific rewards. But I have a few that I kind of really want to do. Anyway, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thanks, guys.